In the vast and sprawling expanse of the Warhammer 40K universe, where every entity is locked in an eternal struggle for survival or dominance, there exists a figure shrouded in mischief and mystery, Cegorach, the laughing god of the Aeldari. His presence is felt like a faint whisper on the winds of the Immaterium, a soft chuckle that resonates in the hearts of his followers and mocks the ambitions of his enemies. Unlike the brutal gods of chaos or the stoic deities of the Aeldari pantheon, Cegorach's influence is an enigma. He is not merely a god, but a storyteller, a trickster, and a master of illusions, weaving tales that blur the lines between reality and deception. The Aeldari, an ancient and fractured race, have endured millennia of strife, betrayal, and near annihilation. Their fall, catalyzed by unchecked hubris and indulgence, birthed Slaanesh, the chaos god of excess, consuming their souls and scattering their remnants. Among the Aeldari gods, most were destroyed, their essence devoured by the newly born Slaanesh. Yet, amidst this cataclysmic event, one god outmaneuvered the doom that befell his kin, Cegorach. Through wit and cunning, he danced through the shadows, evading Slaanesh and preserving his own existence. Cegorach's survival was not a simple act of self-preservation. It was a calculated move, a piece in a grander scheme to protect what remained of his people. His laughter, sharp and sardonic, echoes as a beacon of hope and defiance for those who follow him. His role as the patron of the Harlequins, a sect of Aeldari warriors and performers, solidifies his enduring connection to his race. These enigmatic figures traverse the galaxy, acting as Cegorach's emissaries, storytellers, and agents of chaos, spreading his tales and carrying out his will. But who truly is Cegorach, and what is his purpose in the grimdark reality of the 41st millennium? Is he merely a remnant of the Aeldari's shattered pantheon, or does he hold a deeper role in the fate of his fractured people? His actions, cloaked in theatrical performance and riddled with humor, often conceal his true intentions. Unlike the solemn Ennead, the nascent god of the dead, or the militant Cain, Cegorach embodies a paradox, a god of both salvation and trickery. To understand the role of Cegorach for the Aeldari, one must delve into his myths, his relationship with his followers, and his influence over the galaxy's unfolding events. This is not merely a tale of faith or devotion, but a narrative interwoven with survival, manipulation, and rebellion. It is the story of how a god born of mischief became the guardian and guide of a broken race, using laughter as both a weapon and a shield in the face of despair. In this exploration, we will unravel the myriad layers of Cegorach's influence, from his origins and the legends that define him to his impact on the Harlequins and the broader Aeldari factions. We will examine how this laughing god dances through the shadows of history, always a step ahead of annihilation. What role does he play in the Aeldari's quest for redemption, and how does his presence shape their strategies, beliefs, and ambitions? As we peel back the layers of this cosmic jester, we will confront the mysteries that make him one of the most compelling and elusive figures in the Warhammer 40K mythos. For in the galaxy of eternal war, where hope is fleeting and despair reigns supreme, perhaps it is Cegorach's laughter that reminds the Aeldari and us all that even in darkness there is light. Cegorach's influence spans multiple layers of Aeldari society, connecting him to a variety of individuals, sects, and entities. Each plays a distinct role in preserving his legacy and advancing his intricate plans. From the enigmatic Harlequins to other Aeldari factions struggling for survival, the laughing god's touch is felt far and wide. Understanding these key players is crucial to grasping Cegorach's role. At the center of Cegorach's influence are the Harlequins, a mysterious sect of Aeldari who act as his direct emissaries. These warriors are not merely fighters, but also performers, storytellers, and preservers of Aeldari cultural heritage. They travel the galaxy, enacting the great myths of their people in vivid performances called masks. Through these theatrical displays, they do more than entertain. They preserve the Aeldari's shattered history and convey messages of wisdom, warning, and sometimes subtle manipulation. Every movement, every word in their performances carries hidden meanings, reflecting Cegorach's cunning. The Harlequins also serve as guardians of the Black Library, a repository of forbidden knowledge about chaos. This sacred duty places them at the intersection of myth, reality, and strategy, ensuring Cegorach's influence extends beyond mere performance into the realms of galactic power. The Black Library itself is another crucial player in Cegorach's network. Hidden deep within the webway, this arcane vault contains an unparalleled collection of knowledge about chaos and the warp. Accessible only to the Harlequins and select Aeldari individuals, the library is both a treasure and a weapon. Its existence embodies Cegorach's dual nature, a trickster who conceals truths within layers of illusion, and a protector who seeks to arm his followers with knowledge. Through the Black Library, Cegorach indirectly influences those who gain access, shaping their understanding of the galaxy's dangers and directing their actions. Beyond the Harlequins, Cegorach's reach extends to other Aeldari factions, though his relationship with them is complex. The craft world Aeldari, often seen as the more traditional and structured remnants of their race, do not uniformly revere Cegorach. While some craft worlders respect the Harlequins and their god, others view them with suspicion, wary of their chaotic methods and lack of transparency. Yet even among these skeptics, the Harlequins are occasionally sought out for their insights, especially when the threat of chaos looms large. In these interactions, Cegorach's subtle guidance can influence the decisions of craft world leaders, steering them toward outcomes that align with his broader goals. The Drukhari, or Dark Eldar, present another facet of this dynamic. As hedonistic and cruel denizens of Kamara, they seem far removed from Cegorach's influence. However, even within the dark corners of their society, his presence can be felt. Some Harlequin troops perform within Kamara, their masks a rare connection to the shattered Aeldari pantheon. These performances serve as a reminder of what the Drukhari lost, and as a veiled warning of the consequences of their unchecked desires. While the Drukhari may scoff at such reminders, the seeds of Cegorach's message are nonetheless sown. The Inari, a newer and controversial faction among the Aeldari, add another layer to the narrative. Devoted to Ennead, the nascent god of the dead, the Inari seek to unify the Aeldari under a single banner and ultimately defeat Slaanesh. While Cegorach's relationship with the Inari is ambiguous, there are hints that he supports their mission, albeit on his own terms. Harlequins are among the Inari's most notable allies, suggesting that Cegorach views Ennead's rise as a potential solution to the Aeldari's plight. However, true to his nature, he keeps his motivations hidden, allowing others to act while he observes from the shadows. On a broader scale, Cegorach's role intersects with the ongoing battle against chaos. His opposition to Slaanesh is both deeply personal and existential. As the sole Aeldari god to escape the devourer of souls unscathed, Cegorach represents a living defiance of Slaanesh's power. This opposition manifests not only through the Harlequins' performances, which mock and undermine Slaanesh, but also in their active efforts to disrupt the schemes of chaos across the galaxy. Cegorach's tactics often involve misdirection and manipulation, using his followers to outwit and outmaneuver the servants of the Dark Gods. Lastly, there are the enigmatic Solitaires, a unique subset of the Harlequins who play a singular and sacrificial role in Cegorach's plans. These individuals are chosen to embody the part of Slaanesh in Harlequin performances, a role so spiritually dangerous that it dooms them to an eternity of torment upon death. Yet, despite their grim fate, Solitaire are among the most formidable agents of Cegorach, acting as both warriors and symbols of his intricate balancing act between hope and despair. Their existence underscores the duality of Cegorach's influence. He inspires devotion while demanding great sacrifices. These players, each distinct yet interconnected, form the web of Cegorach's influence across the Aeldari race. Through them, his laughter echoes not as mere amusement, but as a defiant assertion of survival, cunning, and resistance against the forces that seek to obliterate his people. As the story unfolds, their roles will reveal the depths of Cegorach's intricate schemes and the profound impact he has on the fate of the Aeldari. The events that shaped Cegorach's role for the Aeldari trace back to the earliest days of their civilization, long before the catastrophic fall that forever altered their fate. The Aeldari, an ancient and gifted race, were once the dominant force in the galaxy, their empire stretching across countless worlds. They were masters of the warp, creating vast networks of energy and knowledge, including the Webway, a labyrinthine dimension that allowed instantaneous travel across their domain. This unparalleled mastery of both material and immaterial realms imbued them with immense power, but also set the stage for their greatest tragedy. At the height of their empire, the Aeldari became increasingly indulgent, reveling in their own superiority. As their society grew more decadent, so too did their spiritual connection to the warp, which began to mirror their excesses. The psychic resonance of their indulgence gradually coalesced into a horrifying entity within the Immaterium, a burgeoning chaos god born of their collective hedonism. This being, later named Slaanesh, would come to represent the embodiment of excess, lust, and despair. The Aeldari pantheon, once revered as the protectors and guides of their people, became aware of this growing threat, but were ultimately powerless to stop it. Among the gods of the Aeldari, Cegorach's nature as a trickster and master of illusions allowed him a unique perspective. Unlike the martial Cain or the nurturing Aisha, Cegorach was a being of subtlety and cunning, capable of seeing beyond the obvious. He recognized the signs of the Aeldari's descent long before the catastrophe struck, his laughter tinged with a mix of sorrow and defiance. Cegorach's connection to his people was not one of blind adoration, but of shared understanding. He saw their flaws and embraced them, not as weaknesses, but as elements to be transformed and exploited in their survival. The fall of the Aeldari was not a singular event, but a culmination of centuries of decline. As the collective psychic energy of the race gave birth to Slaanesh, the Chaos God's emergence unleashed a devastating psychic scream across the galaxy, annihilating countless Aeldari lives in an instant. Their souls were consumed, their gods were destroyed, and their empire crumbled. Amid this cataclysm, only fragments of the Aeldari survived, those who had fled to the craft worlds, the newly established Webway enclaves, or the dark reaches of Kamara. In this moment of unparalleled destruction, Cegorach's cunning saved him. While most of the Aeldari gods were consumed by Slaanesh, Cegorach eluded destruction by slipping into the Webway, his movements as fluid and elusive as the stories told by his harlequins. The myth tells of a dance between Cegorach and Slaanesh, a contest of wit and skill in which the laughing god emerged victorious, though at great cost. This escape was not merely an act of self-preservation, but the beginning of a new chapter in the Aeldari's fractured history. Cegorach's survival ensured that at least one god of the Aeldari pantheon remained to guide and inspire his people. His focus, however, shifted. No longer could he act as a mere entertainer or storyteller. He had to become a protector, using his abilities to shield his followers from Slaanesh's grasp. His role as the patron of the Harlequins became more defined during this period, as he entrusted them with the preservation of Aeldari lore and the execution of his will. Through them, Cegorach sought to maintain a semblance of unity among the scattered remnants of his race, using humor, deception, and misdirection to mask the profound gravity of their plight. The emergence of Slaanesh also fundamentally altered the relationship between the Aeldari and the Warp. Once a tool of creation and exploration, the Warp became a domain of nightmares, dominated by chaos. Cegorach's mastery of the Webway, an alternative to the Warp's chaos, became a lifeline for the Aeldari. His intricate understanding of this dimension not only allowed him to evade Slaanesh, but also provided a sanctuary for his followers. The Webway became a critical element in Cegorach's strategies, serving as both a shield and a weapon against the forces that sought to destroy his people. In the aftermath of the fall, the Aeldari's perception of their gods shifted. While Cain remained a symbol of war and vengeance, and Isha a distant memory of nurturing guidance, Cegorach stood apart. He was neither defeated nor entirely aloof, embodying a paradoxical blend of hope and cynicism. His laughter, once a source of amusement, became a rallying cry, reminding the Aeldari that survival required adaptability, wit, and above all, an understanding that life is often a performance, a delicate dance where every step could mean the difference between triumph and annihilation. Cegorach's role for the Aeldari was forged in the crucible of their downfall. He became not only a god, but a symbol of resilience and cunning in the face of overwhelming despair. His actions, both direct and indirect, have continued to shape the course of Aeldari history, influencing their strategies, beliefs, and interactions with the wider galaxy. The origins of his role are thus deeply entwined with the Fall, a tragedy that reshaped the Aeldari and defined their place in a galaxy that offers no mercy to the weak or the careless. Through Cegorach, the Aeldari found not only a guardian, but a reminder of their potential to adapt, endure, and perhaps reclaim some measure of what was lost. The story of Cegorach's evolving role for the Aeldari unfolds through a series of pivotal moments and long-term developments, each contributing to the intricate tapestry of his influence. These events are marked by his cunning interventions, the actions of his followers, and the shifting dynamics of the galaxy itself. To understand these milestones is to grasp the ongoing dance of survival, deception, and defiance that defines Cegorach's connection to his people. The first critical stage in Cegorach's role began during the Fall, when he alone among the Aeldari gods evaded Slanesh's grasp. This escape was not simply an act of flight, but a deliberate maneuver that laid the foundation for his enduring influence. In the aftermath, Cegorach took up the mantle of protector and guide, working from the shadows to shield his people from total annihilation. His cunning and foresight allowed him to establish a presence within the webway, a hidden sanctuary where his followers could gather and operate beyond the reach of the Chaos Gods. The establishment of the Harlequins marked a second major milestone. These enigmatic warriors and performers became the living embodiment of Cegorach's will, acting as his emissaries and guardians of Aeldari lore. In the early years following the Fall, the Harlequins undertook the monumental task of preserving the stories of their race, ensuring that the history, myths, and warnings of the Aeldari survived in a galaxy where their culture had been shattered. Through their masks, performances that blend storytelling, martial prowess, and mysticism, they spread the Laughing God's influence, using art and illusion as tools of resistance and survival. A significant evolution in Cegorach's role occurred with the discovery and safeguarding of the Black Library. Hidden deep within the webway, this repository of forbidden knowledge became a central element in his strategies. The Black Library's collection of texts on chaos and the warp provided a critical advantage in understanding and combating the enemies of the Aeldari. Cegorach's connection to this library extended his influence beyond the Harlequins, as the knowledge it contained was occasionally shared with others deemed worthy or desperate enough to seek its secrets. The Black Library became both a sanctuary and a weapon, a symbol of Cegorach's commitment to outmaneuvering the forces of chaos through intellect and strategy. The emergence of the Inari added another chapter to the story of Cegorach's role. When the Aeldari began to rally around Iniad, the god of the dead, Cegorach's relationship with this nascent deity was marked by subtlety and complexity. While he did not openly align himself with the Inari, he allowed the Harlequins to forge alliances with them, suggesting a tacit approval of their mission to unify the Aeldari and oppose Slanesh. This delicate balancing act demonstrated Cegorach's ability to navigate shifting allegiances and opportunities without compromising his overarching goals. In parallel, Cegorach's interventions in galactic events showcased his role as a manipulator and disruptor. His Harlequins acted as agents of change, their performances often concealing hidden messages or warnings that influenced the decisions of other factions. Through these interventions, Cegorach subtly guided the actions of the craftworld Aeldari, the Drukhari, and even the Inari, steering them toward outcomes that served his greater purpose. While his methods were often inscrutable, the results were undeniable, as he repeatedly demonstrated an uncanny ability to outmaneuver threats that would otherwise have overwhelmed his people. A pivotal moment in this ongoing saga occurred during the battle against chaos incursions into the Webway. Cegorach's mastery of this dimensional labyrinth allowed him to protect key enclaves and disrupt the plans of chaos forces. His role in these battles was not one of direct confrontation, but of strategy and misdirection, using the Harlequins and their unparalleled knowledge of the Webway to turn the tide in critical engagements. These victories reinforced his reputation as a guardian of the Aeldari, even as they underscored the fragility of their existence. Over time, Cegorach's role expanded beyond immediate survival to encompass the preservation and renewal of Aeldari culture. The Harlequins' performances evolved to include not only the retelling of ancient myths, but also new tales that reflected the realities of the post-fall galaxy. Through these narratives, Cegorach conveyed lessons, warnings, and inspiration, ensuring that his people remained resilient in the face of adversity. This cultural preservation was as much a weapon as any blade or spell, serving as a reminder of what the Aeldari had lost and what they still had to fight for. In recent centuries, Cegorach's role has remained as vital as ever, adapting to the changing dynamics of the galaxy. His ongoing opposition to Slaanesh is as fierce as it was in the aftermath of the fall, yet his methods have grown more intricate. Through alliances, interventions, and the unyielding dedication of the Harlequins, Cegorach continues to guide his people, ensuring that their story does not end in despair. His laughter, far from being a simple expression of joy or mockery, resonates as a defiant assertion of life in a universe dominated by death and decay. These key stages in Cegorach's role highlight the evolution of his influence over the Aeldari. From the moment of their greatest tragedy to their ongoing struggle for survival, his actions have shaped their fate, offering hope, guidance, and resistance against the forces that seek to consume them. As the galaxy's conflicts intensify, his role remains a cornerstone of the Aeldari's resilience, a testament to the enduring power of cunning, creativity, and determination. Among the countless threads woven into the tapestry of the Aeldari's existence, one moment stands apart as a defining testament to Cegorach's cunning and resolve: his confrontation with Slaanesh during the fall. This event, both mythic and consequential, solidified his role as the Aeldari's trickster savior and set the stage for his enduring influence. It was not a battle fought with swords or psychic might, but a contest of wit, deception, and strategy, where the Laughing God demonstrated the essence of his nature and purpose. As the psychic resonance of the Aeldari's decadence gave birth to Slaanesh, the resulting cataclysm destroyed the majority of their gods. Cain was shattered, Vol bound, and Isha imprisoned, each divine figure succumbing to the overwhelming power of the newborn Chaos God. Slaanesh's hunger extended beyond the gods, consuming the souls of the Aeldari themselves, ripping apart their vast empire in an instant. Yet, amid this devastation, Cegorach evaded annihilation, his escape becoming a pivotal moment in the mythology and survival of his people. According to Aeldari legend, Cegorach faced Slaanesh directly, not as an equal combatant, but as a master of the unexpected. While the other gods sought to confront or evade Slaanesh through force or flight, Cegorach embraced his role as the Laughing God, engaging the newborn deity in a game of skill and cunning. The specifics of this contest vary between accounts, reflecting the mutable and enigmatic nature of Cegorach himself. Some tales speak of a dance, where every step was a carefully executed maneuver, evading the grasp of the devourer of souls. Others describe a duel of riddles, where Cegorach's mastery of wordplay and misdirection left Slaanesh bewildered and unable to claim him. What remains consistent across these stories is the outcome. Cegorach escaped into the webway, a realm he knew intimately and manipulated with ease. His mastery of this labyrinthine dimension proved critical, as it offered him a refuge beyond the reach of Slaanesh and a platform from which to continue his work. This retreat was not an act of cowardice, but a calculated decision, ensuring his survival so that he could protect the remnants of his race and continue his eternal jest against the forces of chaos. The significance of this event extends beyond Cegorach's personal survival. His confrontation with Slaanesh was a moment of defiance, where he demonstrated that wit and creativity could triumph over brute power and overwhelming despair. For the Aeldari, it was a reminder that even in their darkest hour, there was a glimmer of hope, embodied by a god who refused to be consumed. This defiance became a cornerstone of his role, influencing the Harlequins and their philosophy. To them, every mask they perform, every battle they fight, echoes the Laughing God's victory, a reminder that no foe is invincible and no situation without potential for triumph. This pivotal moment also set the tone for Cegorach's approach to the galaxy's broader struggles. Rather than directly opposing his enemies with brute force, he relies on manipulation, strategy, and the element of surprise. His actions often appear indirect or whimsical, but they are guided by a profound understanding of the intricate dynamics at play. The lessons of his escape resonate in his guidance of the Harlequins, who use theatricality and misdirection to achieve their goals, reflecting the Laughing God's own methods. Another dimension to this key event is its impact on the Aeldari's spiritual landscape. With the other gods of their pantheon either destroyed or rendered powerless, Cegorach's survival gave the Aeldari a unique connection to their past. While Kani's fragmented essence persists within the avatars of the craft worlds, and Isha is whispered to aid her people from her imprisonment, Cegorach remains active, his laughter a constant presence among his followers. This enduring connection to a living god offers the Aeldari more than faith. It provides them with a symbol of resilience, a reminder that survival requires not just strength, but adaptability and cunning. In the broader context of the galaxy, Cegorach's confrontation with Slaanesh serves as a microcosm of his ongoing role. It highlights his ability to outmaneuver seemingly insurmountable odds and turn the tide of events through intelligence and creativity. His decision to evade rather than confront Slaanesh head-on was not merely an act of preservation, but a declaration of intent, to fight on his own terms, in his own way, and to ensure that his people would have a future, however precarious. This key moment, preserved in the myths and masks of the Harlequins, continues to shape Cegorach's legacy and the role he plays for the Aeldari. It is a story that inspires, instructs, and warns, encapsulating the essence of a god who thrives in the spaces between certainty and chaos. By outwitting Slaanesh, Cegorach demonstrated not only the power of his unique gifts, but also the enduring potential of the Aeldari, even in the face of their greatest adversities. His laughter, ringing out across the webway, is a reminder that the game is never over as long as there are players willing to take the stage. Cegorach's influence on the galaxy extends far beyond his immediate relationship with the Aeldari, shaping events, strategies, and the balance of power in ways that are both profound and subtle. His unique role as a god of trickery and illusion allows him to manipulate circumstances in ways that often go unnoticed until their impact is fully realized. Through his followers, the Harlequins, and his mastery of the webway, Cegorach exerts an influence that ripples across the grimdark universe of the 41st millennium. One of the most direct ways Cegorach affects the galaxy is through the Harlequins, who serve as his emissaries and agents of change. These enigmatic performers and warriors do not merely act as defenders of the Aeldari. They actively engage with other factions and forces, spreading the Laughing God's influence. The Harlequins are known to appear suddenly in critical moments, whether on battlefields, in diplomatic chambers, or within the depths of the webway. Their interventions often tip the scales, altering the outcome of conflicts in ways that align with Cegorach's inscrutable plans. These appearances are rarely straightforward. Their actions might seem cryptic or inconsequential at first, but over time, their significance becomes clear. The Black Library is another channel through which Cegorach's presence shapes the galaxy. As the repository of forbidden knowledge about chaos and the warp, it serves as a source of understanding and power for those who are granted access. The library's guardians, the Harlequins, ensure that this knowledge is carefully controlled, shared only with individuals or groups deemed capable of wielding it without succumbing to corruption. This selective dissemination of knowledge affects the balance of power among various factions, enabling the Aeldari to counter chaos incursions and sometimes even aiding non-Aeldari allies in their struggles. In this way, Cegorach indirectly influences the fates of countless worlds, using the Black Library as a tool to outmaneuver chaos. A Cegorach's mastery of the webway has profound implications for the galaxy. This vast labyrinthine network of alternate dimensions is a lifeline for the Aeldari, allowing them to travel across vast distances without exposing themselves to the dangers of the warp. Cegorach's intimate understanding of the webway enables him to manipulate it in ways that other factions cannot. Through the Harlequins, he ensures the protection of key access points and corridors, preventing enemies from exploiting this crucial resource. Moreover, his ability to use the webway for rapid deployment allows his followers to strike with precision, executing surgical interventions that disrupt the plans of their foes. This strategic use of the webway highlights Cegorach's influence on galactic warfare and his role in preserving Aeldari autonomy. Beyond direct interventions, Cegorach's impact on the galaxy is seen in the way he inspires resistance against chaos. His very existence is a symbol of defiance, a reminder that even the most overwhelming threats can be outwitted. This influence is not limited to the Aeldari. Through the Harlequins' performances and interactions, Cegorach's message of resilience and cunning reaches other races and factions, planting seeds of hope and determination. These subtle acts of inspiration contribute to a broader resistance against chaos, creating ripples that affect the course of galactic history. Cegorach's role also extends into the realm of cultural preservation. The Harlequins' masks, while primarily a medium for storytelling and performance, serve a deeper purpose. They ensure that the lessons and warnings of the Aeldari's past are not forgotten. Through these performances, the Harlequins share fragments of their history and mythology with audiences across the galaxy, preserving the cultural legacy of a race that has suffered near extinction. This cultural influence, though intangible, has a lasting effect on the Aeldari and those who witness these performances, reminding them of what was lost and what must be protected. Perhaps the most enigmatic aspect of Cegorach's influence is his manipulation of fate itself. The Laughing God operates on a level that transcends immediate concerns, viewing events as part of a vast interconnected tapestry. His actions often appear contradictory or nonsensical, but they are guided by a profound understanding of the long-term consequences. By steering events in ways that others cannot comprehend, Cegorach ensures that his people remain a step ahead of their enemies. His interventions often take the form of subtle nudges or seemingly minor actions that over time lead to significant shifts in the balance of power. The indirect nature of Cegorach's influence is both a strength and a limitation. While his cunning allows him to achieve objectives without direct confrontation, it also makes his intentions difficult to discern, even for his followers. This ambiguity has led to tension within the Aeldari, particularly among factions that prioritize unity or militaristic solutions. Yet, it is this very ambiguity that allows Cegorach to remain an effective player in the galaxy's eternal struggle, adapting to changing circumstances and exploiting opportunities that others might overlook. In the grand theater of the 41st millennium, Cegorach's role is akin to that of a playwright, crafting narratives that guide the actions of his followers and confound his enemies. His influence is pervasive yet elusive, a constant presence that shapes the galaxy without drawing undue attention. Through his cunning, resilience, and unyielding defiance, the Laughing God ensures that the Aeldari remain a force to be reckoned with, even in a universe that seems determined to erase them. Cegorach's role for the Aeldari is steeped in unique aspects that set him apart not only as a god of his people, but as a force in the galaxy. His approach, methods, and tools reflect his singular identity as the Laughing God, a being of subtlety, cunning, and paradox. These elements define his influence and serve as the foundation for his enduring presence in the fractured world of the Aeldari. The first defining aspect of Cegorach's role is his mastery of illusion and deception. Unlike other gods who embody raw power or singular virtues, Cegorach thrives in the realms of ambiguity and misdirection. This is not merely a matter of creating falsehoods, but a deliberate manipulation of perception. His illusions often carry layers of truth hidden within, challenging those who encounter them to see beyond the surface. For the Aeldari, this mastery serves as both a tool and a philosophy. The Harlequins, as his emissaries, use these techniques not only in battle, but in storytelling, where every performance carries hidden lessons and warnings for those who can decipher them. Another unique aspect of Cegorach's role is his relationship with the Webway. While all Aeldari rely on this dimension for travel and survival, Cegorach's connection to it is unparalleled. He is said to understand its labyrinthine corridors and shifting nature better than any other being, making him not just a user, but a master of the Webway. This allows him to exploit its secrets in ways that others cannot, using it as a staging ground, a refuge, and a weapon. The Webway's enigmatic nature mirrors Cegorach's own, reinforcing his identity as a god who exists between worlds and realities. The Harlequins themselves are a direct reflection of Cegorach's uniqueness. Unlike the more structured craft worlds or the hedonistic Drukhari, the Harlequins operate outside traditional Aeldari hierarchies. They are a fluid and autonomous group, united not by politics or territory, but by their devotion to Cegorach and the art of the mask. Their dual role as warriors and performers embodies Cegorach's philosophy that survival requires adaptability and that battle is as much a psychological contest as a physical one. The Harlequin's ability to weave theater into warfare is a testament to this principle, creating a form of combat that is as disorienting as it is deadly. A crucial aspect of Cegorach's influence lies in his connection to the Black Library. This repository of forbidden knowledge about chaos and the warp is not merely a resource, but a manifestation of Cegorach's strategy. It is said that he guards the library personally, ensuring that its secrets are protected and shared only when necessary. The Black Library represents more than a collection of texts. It is a symbol of the Aeldari's potential to overcome their greatest enemies through understanding and intellect rather than sheer force. Cegorach's role as its guardian emphasizes his belief in the power of knowledge and the importance of controlling it. One of the most striking aspects of Cegorach's role is his defiance of Slaanesh. While the other gods of the Aeldari pantheon fell to the newborn Chaos God, Cegorach not only survived, but continues to actively undermine Slaanesh's influence. His methods are not confrontational, but subversive, using his wit and cunning to outmaneuver a foe that embodies gluttonous hunger. The Harlequins play a central role in this struggle, their masks often mocking and challenging Slaanesh's dominion. This ongoing defiance is not only a battle for survival, but a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of the Aeldari, embodied in their Laughing God. Cegorach's use of humor as a weapon is another distinctive feature. In a galaxy defined by grim determination and relentless conflict, laughter is both a rarity and a form of rebellion. For Cegorach, humor is not merely a distraction, but a tool to expose folly, disrupt enemy plans, and inspire hope. The Harlequins' performances often include elements of satire and irony, using laughter to disarm and disorient their foes. This approach underscores Cegorach's philosophy that even in the darkest times, there is power in finding joy and defiance through wit. His multifaceted role also extends to his relationship with the other Aeldari factions. Unlike Kain, who is revered primarily within the craft worlds, or Aeneid, who represents a specific path to salvation, Cegorach's influence touches all corners of the Aeldari race. The craft-worlders respect his wisdom and the Harlequin's guidance, even if they do not fully trust their methods. The Drukhari, despite their cruelty and self-interest, are not entirely beyond his reach, as evidenced by the Harlequin's occasional performances within Comora. Even the Inari, with their focus on the god of the dead, benefit from Cegorach's support, albeit indirectly. This ability to navigate the complex web of Aeldari factions highlights his adaptability and far-reaching impact. Lastly, Cegorach's role is defined by his enduring mystery. Unlike other gods who are more straightforward in their actions and intentions, Cegorach thrives in the shadows, his true plans known only to himself. This enigmatic quality is both a strength and a source of tension. His followers trust in his wisdom, but his inscrutability means that even they cannot fully predict his actions. This element of uncertainty makes him a dynamic and unpredictable force, capable of surprising both his allies and his enemies. Cegorach's role for the Aeldari is a study in contrasts and complexities. He is a protector and a trickster, a preserver of tradition and a disruptor of expectations. His unique aspects, his mastery of illusion, his relationship with the webway, his use of humor, and his defiance of chaos make him not only a god of the Aeldari, but a force that resonates across the galaxy. Through his actions and influence, he ensures that the story of his people continues, woven with threads of resilience, cunning, and laughter. The influence of Cegorach, the laughing god, is reflected in the lives and deeds of individuals who embody his philosophy, serve his will, or are shaped by his enigmatic presence. These notable figures, each unique in their abilities and roles, contribute to the Aeldari's survival and resistance against the forces threatening their existence. Through their actions, they personify the wit, cunning, and defiance that defines Cegorach's legacy. The Solitaires stand out as some of the most extraordinary individuals associated with Cegorach. These lone Harlequins play the most perilous and sacrificial roles in the masks. They embody the part of Slaanesh in the great mythological performances. To do so requires a connection to the Prince of Excess, so deep that it inevitably condemns the Solitaire's soul to the grasp of chaos upon death. Despite this grim fate, Solitaire carry out their duties with unwavering resolve, acting as some of the deadliest and most agile warriors in the galaxy. Their tragic existence highlights both the cost of resisting Slaanesh and the depth of Cegorach's influence, as their roles are critical to his narratives of defiance and survival. A pivotal figure in Cegorach's sphere is the Shadowseer, a type of Harlequin who serves as both a mystic and a manipulator. These individuals wield immense psychic power, blending illusion and foresight to influence the outcomes of battles and performances alike. Shadowseers are the keepers of ancient wisdom and interpreters of Cegorach's will, often guiding their troops with cryptic advice and prophetic insight. Their ability to weave visions and manipulate emotions reflects Cegorach's reliance on subtlety and perception. On the battlefield, a Shadowseer can unravel the resolve of entire armies, their psychic powers sowing confusion and fear among enemy ranks. In the annals of the Harlequins, one name stands apart as a legend, Lahariel Ray, often referred to as the Eternal Mask. Lahariel was said to be a Harlequin of unmatched skill, both as a performer and a warrior. Her life became a tale of unwavering devotion to Cegorach as she traveled the galaxy, spreading his influence and thwarting the schemes of chaos. It is said that Lahariel once faced a greater demon of Slaanesh alone, defeating it not through brute strength, but by ensnaring it in a mask so intricate and enthralling that the demon was undone by its own hubris. Her story, whether fact or myth, embodies the Laughing God's philosophy that wit and creativity are the greatest weapons against even the most terrifying foes. Outside of the Harlequins, there are notable Aeldari figures who, while not direct servants of Cegorach, have interacted with his followers and been shaped by his influence. Yvraine, the emissary of Ennead and leader of the Inari, is one such figure. Though her devotion lies with the nascent god of the dead, her alliance with the Harlequins has brought her into Cegorach's orbit. The Harlequins' support of the Inari's mission to unite the Aeldari and combat Slaanesh reflects Cegorach's strategic acumen, as their goals align with his broader aim of undermining the Chaos God. Yvraine's interactions with the Harlequins have furthered her cause while subtly advancing Cegorach's own agenda. Another figure of note is Prince Ecliptor, a legendary Harlequin troop master whose deeds are celebrated in the masks of countless troops. Known for his audacity and brilliance, Ecliptor led his troop in daring raids against Chaos forces, striking with such precision and flair that his exploits became the stuff of legend. His leadership and ingenuity exemplify the qualities Cegorach prizes in his followers, the ability to turn even the most dire situations into opportunities for triumph. Ecliptor's life and legacy are a reminder that the Laughing God's influence is not confined to myth, but manifests through the actions of those who embrace his teachings. Cegorach's role is also reflected in the enigmatic figure of Talshir the Unseen, a Harlequin who operated almost exclusively within the Webway. Known for her uncanny ability to navigate its shifting corridors, Talshir was said to possess an unparalleled connection to Cegorach's mind, her movements and decisions often anticipating events before they occurred. Her mastery of the Webway allowed her to thwart numerous invasions by Chaos forces, ensuring the safety of critical enclaves and routes. Talshir's actions underline the Laughing God's commitment to protecting the remnants of the Aeldari through both direct and indirect means. Even within the fragmented and often antagonistic Aeldari factions, figures like Asurman, the first of the Phoenix Lords, have had fleeting but impactful interactions with Cegorach's followers. While Asurman's path is tied to the martial traditions of the craft worlds, the Harlequin's masks have occasionally crossed his path, offering cryptic guidance and inspiration. These moments highlight Cegorach's willingness to work through intermediaries, using his followers to influence figures of importance across the Aeldari's fractured spectrum. Ultimately, the individuals connected to Cegorach's influence, whether through direct service or fleeting encounters, reveal the depth and complexity of his role. They are warriors, performers, mystics, and legends, each contributing to the survival and resilience of their race. Through their actions, the Laughing God's philosophy comes to life, demonstrating that even in a universe of relentless despair, there is power in wit, cunning, and defiance. Their stories, interwoven with his, ensure that Cegorach's laughter echoes across the galaxy, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Aeldari. Cegorach's role within the Aeldari mythology and their survival is as enigmatic as it is pivotal. Despite the wealth of lore surrounding the Laughing God, his true nature, intentions, and ultimate goals remain shrouded in mystery. This ambiguity has given rise to numerous unresolved questions and theories, fueling debates among scholars, storytellers, and even his own followers. These uncertainties form an integral part of his influence, as Cegorach thrives on leaving others guessing, perpetuating a sense of both awe and unease. One of the most debated questions is whether Cegorach's survival during the fall was entirely his own doing, or if it was facilitated by some other force. While Aeldari myths credit his wit and cunning, some theories suggest that Cegorach may have orchestrated events long before the fall to ensure his escape. Did he foresee the Aeldari's downfall and subtly guide his people to prepare for it? Or was his evasion of Slaanesh an improvisation in the face of annihilation? This question ties into a broader mystery. How much of the Aeldari's fate has been influenced by the Laughing God's hidden hand? Another unresolved matter lies in the true nature of Cegorach's relationship with Slaanesh. While their opposition is a central theme of Aeldari lore, the intricacies of their connection are far from clear. Some believe that Cegorach's mocking defiance serves not only as a form of resistance, but as a way to maintain a delicate balance, ensuring that Slaanesh does not fully consume the Aeldari. Others speculate that his dances and games with Slaanesh may contain an element of mutual recognition and acknowledgement of their intertwined destinies as entities shaped by the same race. Could there be a deeper understanding between the Laughing God and the Chaos God of Excess, one that transcends simple enmity? The role of the Black Library in Cegorach's grand scheme is another source of intrigue. While it is known that the Harlequins safeguard this repository of forbidden knowledge, the ultimate purpose of the library remains unclear. Does Cegorach intend for its secrets to eventually be revealed to the Aeldari in full, enabling them to combat chaos more effectively? Or is the Black Library a trap, a means to lure those who would misuse its power into their own undoing? The few non-Aeldari who have glimpsed its contents often leave with more questions than answers, reinforcing the sense that the library serves purposes beyond mortal comprehension. A related mystery is the nature of Cegorach's relationship with the Harlequins themselves. While they are his most devoted followers, embodying his philosophy and spreading his influence, the extent of his direct communication with them is ambiguous. Do the Harlequins act based on explicit instructions from their god, or are they interpreting his will through the lens of their performances and rituals? This ambiguity adds to their mystique, as even they may not fully understand the Laughing God's intentions. It also raises the question of whether Cegorach's role is more passive than it appears, with his followers playing a larger role in shaping his legacy than they realize. Theories also abound regarding Cegorach's endgame. What is his ultimate goal for the Aeldari? Some believe that his primary objective is the survival of his people, using deception and manipulation to ensure their continued existence in a hostile galaxy. Others suggest that he may have a more ambitious plan, such as orchestrating the downfall of Slaanesh or uniting the fractured Aeldari race under a single purpose. There are even those who speculate that Cegorach's true aim is to bring about a transformation of the Aeldari, reshaping them into a new form of existence that transcends their current limitations. The emergence of the Inari and their nascent god, Inaed, has introduced further uncertainties into Cegorach's plans. While the Harlequins have allied with the Inari, their precise role in this alliance remains unclear. Does Cegorach see Inaed as a rival, a potential ally, or a tool to be used in his schemes? Some theorists posit that Cegorach views Inaed's rise as a necessary step in the Aeldari's evolution, while others suggest that he may seek to influence or even control the new god's development. The interplay between these divine forces is a puzzle that continues to unfold. Another unresolved question pertains to the Laughing God's interactions with the mortal races of the galaxy. While his primary concern is the Aeldari, there are instances where his influence seems to extend beyond his own people. The Harlequins have been known to assist other factions in their struggles against chaos, often in ways that defy conventional logic. Does Cegorach have a broader vision for the galaxy, one that includes the fates of other races? Or are these interventions merely byproducts of his ongoing war against Slaanesh and chaos? Finally, the question of Cegorach's true form remains a source of fascination. As a god of illusion, his appearance is as mutable as his actions, and no definitive depiction of him exists. This has led to speculation that his form is not fixed, that he may embody different aspects of himself depending on the situation or observer. Is Cegorach a singular entity, or could he be a manifestation of the collective psyche of the Aeldari, born from their need for hope and defiance? This theory, while controversial, aligns with the enigmatic nature of his existence and the Aeldari's deep connection to the warp. The unresolved questions and theories surrounding Cegorach are as integral to his character as his laughter and wit. They ensure that he remains a figure of intrigue and speculation, a god whose mysteries are as compelling as his actions. These uncertainties challenge those who seek to understand him, reminding them that Cegorach's greatest trick may be convincing the galaxy that he is more, or less, than he truly is. In a universe where knowledge often comes at a cost, the Laughing God's mysteries remain a source of both frustration and inspiration, ensuring that his role continues to evolve and adapt with the passage of time. Cegorach's influence on the Aeldari and the broader galaxy carries profound long-term consequences that extend well beyond immediate conflicts or victories. His role as a trickster god, a preserver of culture, and a guardian against chaos has far-reaching implications for the survival of his people and the balance of power within the galaxy. These consequences shape not only the destiny of the Aeldari, but also the ongoing struggle between order and destruction in the grim-dark future of the 41st millennium. One of the most significant long-term effects of Cegorach's role is the preservation of Aeldari identity. Through the Harlequins and their masks, the Laughing God has ensured that the myths, traditions, and lessons of the Aeldari survive the near extinction of their race. This cultural preservation provides the fractured Aeldari with a shared heritage, offering a sense of unity and purpose even amid their divisions. The stories enacted by the Harlequins are not just entertainment. They are a means of keeping the soul of the Aeldari alive. In a galaxy where history is often lost to war and devastation, Cegorach's efforts to preserve his people's legacy are invaluable. The Laughing God's enduring battle against Slaanesh has also created a lasting framework of resistance against chaos. By establishing the Harlequins as warriors and guardians of knowledge, Cegorach has given the Aeldari a powerful tool for opposing the forces of the warp. This resistance is not limited to direct confrontation. It includes the subtle undermining of chaos's influence through performance, manipulation, and the spread of hope. Over time, these efforts have made the Harlequins a critical part of the galaxy's defense against the encroaching darkness, influencing events far beyond the Aeldari's immediate sphere. Cegorach's mastery of the Webway has implications that resonate across the galaxy's future. The Webway is not merely a tool for transportation. It is a lifeline for the Aeldari and a key battleground in the struggle against chaos. By maintaining control over portions of the Webway, Cegorach has safeguarded critical assets for his people and prevented their enemies from exploiting this vital resource. The Webway's strategic importance ensures that it will remain a focal point in galactic conflicts, with Cegorach's influence shaping the outcomes of battles and alliances for centuries to come. The Laughing God's impact on the Aeldari's spiritual landscape is another enduring consequence. As one of the few surviving deities of their pantheon, Cegorach represents a bridge between the Aeldari's glorious past and their uncertain future. His continued existence offers a source of faith and inspiration, reminding his people that survival is possible even in the face of overwhelming despair. This spiritual connection has implications not only for the Aeldari, but also for the wider galaxy, as Cegorach's defiance of chaos serves as a symbol of hope for all those who struggle against the forces of the warp. In the long term, Cegorach's influence may also shape the evolution of the Aeldari race itself. His emphasis on adaptability, cunning, and resilience encourages his followers to embrace change and innovation, qualities that are essential for survival in a galaxy as unforgiving as this one. The Harlequins, with their unique blend of performance and warfare, embody this philosophy, serving as a model for how the Aeldari can thrive despite their diminished numbers and fractured society. Over time, these lessons may lead to a broader cultural shift among the Aeldari, fostering a new identity that blends tradition with progress. Cegorach's interactions with other factions in the galaxy also carry long-term implications. By aiding the Inari in their quest to unite the Aeldari and combat Slaanesh, the Laughing God has positioned himself as a pivotal figure in the Aeldari's potential resurgence. The Inari's goals align with Cegorach's broader strategy of resisting chaos but their methods and ultimate ambitions may diverge from his own. This alliance creates a dynamic interplay between these forces, with Cegorach's influence subtly guiding their actions while remaining open to the possibility of unexpected outcomes. Beyond the Aeldari, Cegorach's role has broader consequences for the galaxy's balance of power. His opposition to chaos places him in indirect alignment with other factions that resist the warp's corruption, including the Imperium and other Xeno species. While Cegorach's methods and goals often remain inscrutable to these allies, his actions nonetheless contribute to their struggles against a common enemy. Over time, this shared resistance may foster new alliances and strategies, altering the trajectory of the galaxy's conflicts. Perhaps the most profound long-term consequence of Cegorach's role is the enduring mystery that surrounds him. His enigmatic nature ensures that his actions and intentions remain a source of speculation and intrigue, not only among the Aeldari, but across the galaxy. This ambiguity serves a purpose, allowing Cegorach to operate in the shadows and manipulate events without drawing undue attention. However, it also leaves open the possibility that his ultimate goals may differ from what his followers and allies assume. As the galaxy's story continues to unfold, the Laughing God's role will likely remain a source of both inspiration and uncertainty. In a universe defined by endless war and despair, Cegorach's influence offers a counterbalance, a reminder that wit, resilience, and creativity can endure even in the face of overwhelming odds. His laughter, far from being mere mockery, serves as a defiant affirmation of life and possibility. Through his actions and the legacy of his followers, Cegorach ensures that the Aeldari's story does not end in silence, but continues to echo across the stars, filled with both sorrow and hope. As long as his influence endures, the Laughing God will remain a vital force in the galaxy's eternal struggle, shaping its future in ways both seen and unseen.